The mid-level luxury sports car performance segment is pretty saturated. You have well-known names like the BMW M340i, you have the new hybridized Mercedes C43, you have the Audi S5, and others. But there's one car in this segment that I believe is just a little bit slept on. This is the 2025 Cadillac CT5-V, and in this video, I'm going to show you why this is the sports luxury sedan that not enough people are talking about. So let's take a look at the 2025 CT5-V. First, a little bit of an explainer. So the Cadillac CT5 is kind of an awkward sedan. It stacks a little bit between a BMW 3 Series and a BMW 5 Series in terms of size. So it's a little bit of a tweener in terms of that. So if you are looking for something on the larger end, this is a pretty good option. The entire CT5 lineup received a facelift for the 2025 model year. So the thing you're going to notice straight away is that this front end is very different from last year's model. We have a much more complicated headlight that reminds me of the old Cadillac CT6. The grille is kind of similar too. I don't think it's a bad redesign, but I do love the simplicity of the outgoing model. But that being said, this is still a really handsome, attractive sedan, especially in this color, which is called Typhoon. It is not named after the GMC Typhoon. I actually did ask that, but it is really lovely in this nice green, although it doesn't really come across on camera. The camera kind of dulls it a little bit, but it is a really nice looking car. We do have 19-inch wheels. You can get these in a darker finish, but we have the lighter silver finish with blue brake calipers. You actually get a key to match your brake calipers, and you get a couple of different brake caliper options here on this car. But I love that they didn't go too big with 20s or 21-inch wheels. 19 is the right size for a vehicle like this in terms of ride. You do have your little V logo right here. And then here at the back, we've got a decently sporty design. I love the taillights. They didn't fiddle with those too much. We've got our quad exhaust, although you see the actual tips are in there just a little bit. And then we have our CT5 logo here, our V logo here, and then our all-wheel drive badge. You can get this vehicle in rear-wheel drive or as an all-wheel drive vehicle, which is quite interesting. And the thing that I should say about V is, if you're a little bit confused by this car as we start talking about it, Cadillac restructured where the V sits in its lineup. So things like the CTSV and ATSV used to compete directly against M cars like the BMW M3 and BMW M5. V is now the mid-level performance, so competing against things that I mentioned like the Audi S5, the Mercedes C43, and the BMW M340i. The Blackwing is now the model that competes against the AMGs and the M's of the world. So remember, V is mid-level performance, the Blackwing is the cream of the crop. Now here on the inside is where Cadillac has made a lot of changes to the CT5 lineup for the 2025 model year, that including the V and the Blackwing as well. We've got some decently nice sport seats. They're not as nice as the ones that you get in the Blackwing, but they are very comfortable. Heated and ventilated seats here with a massage. Definitely not the best massage that I've ever been in. It's kind of just more of a rolling lumbar. But it works nice, and pretty much there aren't that many cars in this segment that do have a massage. You have your little V logo in here, and you can get these in a bunch of different colors. This is kind of one of the more low-key options. But here's where you're really going to notice the changes as we go ahead and start it up. Gone is the pretty tiny and not great looking, I believe it was a 9 or 10-inch screen. Now we've got this massive one-piece 33-inch screen, kind of looks like what you would get in the Cadillac Escalade or in the Cadillac XT4, and it does some really great things. We are powered by Google here, so we've got Google search, we've got wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto. You get GM's awesome performance data recorder. So this thing can actually record your lap times if you want to go autocrossing with this car or take it on an actual track. That is a really nice feature. We do have a really high resolution 360-degree camera as well. We've got our gauge cluster right here. You can actually change that over here with this layout control. So you can go into the gauges and you can have it linked to the drive modes, or you can change it manually. So that was your sport. This is going to be your tour mode, back to sport. And then your track mode has some really big, nice tachometer readouts there, which is really nice for driving on the racetrack. You do also get Cadillac's hands-free Super Cruise on this model, which is a really nice touch. You can also get the digital rear view mirror, which is a nice touch. And although we don't have it, you can get a split sunroof. So the passengers in the back get their own sunroof and then you get your own as well. Only the front is going to open. 10-speed automatic on this car. You cannot get the manual on the regular CT5V. You're going to have to upgrade to the Blackwing for that. And then we do have a really nice speaker system in here. I believe it's a 16-speaker AKG audio system. And then we've got some carbon fiber to kind of make this interior feel a little bit nicer. This is definitely not the nicest interior in the segment. I think that the Germans do a little bit better in terms of material quality, but I appreciate that in addition to the giant touchscreen, we've got all of our physical climate controls, buttons for the heated and ventilated seats. Not a lot of sedans do this anymore. This is so easy to just do everything with a quick press. Cadillac gets a lot of brownie points for that. I mentioned that the CT5 is a little bit longer than some of the vehicles that it competes against, and you get some pretty good legroom with a little over 37 inches, so really nice back seat back here. We do have air vents, we have a car outlet right here, we have a USB-C right here, so nothing too special, but we do at least have air vents. The headroom is not as good as the legroom, but again, not really too bad for adults riding back here. The trunk is where the CT5V is a little bit less impressive with just under 12 cubic feet of space back here. So certainly not the biggest, and that divider into the cabin is definitely compromised. You can't have sort of a wide, big opening there. So that is one limiting factor if you are looking to get the CT5V. I believe there are more spacious options in terms of trunk space, but it really isn't too bad. All right, now as you'll probably notice from the different seats that I am now sitting on, I've switched from the green car that I was driving into a blue one. And the only reason why I did that is because I wanted to feel what this car was like in its purest form, that being with rear wheel drive. As I mentioned when we were doing the exterior walk around, you can also get the CT5V in all-wheel drive. So it is very flexible in that regard, meaning that you can get it in all-weather situations, or if you live somewhere where it's warm, you can go ahead and just go for the rear-wheel drive version. Now, as I mentioned, all of these are going to have a 10-speed automatic transmission, a really darn good one that shifts really well in automatic mode and really quickly when you're trying to drive it quickly. And that is mated to a rather unique 3-liter twin turbocharged V6. And the reason why I say it's rather unique is because this is actually the only car from Cadillac and from the entire General Motors portfolio that uses this engine. That's right, not a single other Cadillac, Chevy, Buick, or GMC uses this engine. So I guess you can say, hey, I have the most unique engine within the GM portfolio. And not only is this engine unique, it's pretty darn good. It makes 360 horsepower, which is kind of low, I guess. Like, there are some 6-cylinder options that make a lot more power than that now. Even the Mercedes C43 has over 400 horsepower, but 410 pound-feet of torque, which is a really good number for this segment. And as I mentioned, I think this 10-speed automatic transmission might be the best in the class. I think it is right up there with the ZF8 speed that is in the BMW 3 Series. It rips shifts. You just get this trumpet-like exhaust. It just makes such a sweet note. No, it is not the roar of the V8 engine that you get in the Cadillac CT5V Blackwing, but honestly, I think this V6 actually sounds a little bit better than the 3.6-liter one that you get in the CT4V Blackwing. I'm going to go ahead and slow it down a little. I'm actually going to go ahead and put it in automatic. We're going to go ahead and change the drive mode to track because I know what I'm doing here. And let's see here. Oh, it makes just a really sweet noise as that automatic whips through the gears. I actually drove a CT5 non-V. You could actually get this engine in the non-V, and it sounded great there, but I wanted, some other upgrades like the MagneRide dampers in this car and, just a little bit better steering and suspension tuning. And now I have all of that. Oh, you can tackle a road, like a windy road, with this car super well. The steering is fantastic. I think this is way more connected and has way more feel and feedback than pretty much any of the Germans, BMW included, maybe even especially BMW. The chassis is just so talkative. I can feel exactly what this car is doing. It's just so nicely balanced. Unlike the Blackwing, I don't feel that I'm just overwhelmed with power and I'm just not able to use it without getting thrown into jail, basically. Do I wish there was a little more power? Maybe. I would love to see what this platform could do with this engine, with that noise, but with a manual transmission. That would just be such a great combination, because as it stands, man, this is just really fun. Really, really fun. Puts the power down, rips, you just get a little every time you shift at the red line in this car. It's a really nice sound. I think this might even sound, BMW's B58 engine sounds fantastic, but I think this might sound just as good, if not better. And while I don't have my own data recorder right here, the car does have one built in. So I do want to see if I can beat Cadillac's 0 to 60 time here. Don't think I had launch control there. That's 60. 4.9. Okay. So Cadillac claims this car will do 0 to 60 in 4.6. So we are a little bit behind that, but 4.9 is really not that bad. And I do not think we got launch control engaged there. Let me try. I'm going to put it in V mode. So this is going to put our performance traction management into its sportiest setting. I believe that is what we need to get launch control here. And we will do it one more time. Ready? That's it. There we go. Skipped a little bit. The road we are on is not perfect. 4.9 again. It is consistent, I will give it that. And with the all-wheel drive one yesterday, I was not able to get it under 5 seconds. So the fact that we are now under 5 seconds in the rear-wheel drive one, they say they should be pretty comparable, the rear-wheel drive and the all-wheel drive version, but I think that this lighter rear-wheel drive version is the one to get if you are a true enthusiast. I think it's just a little bit lighter. I think it feels it. And you just have that nice, controllable rear end. It's just a lot of fun. I think if I was in the market for a car like this, because of how this car rides, I don't think I've talked enough about how much this car rides really well, but a lot of the German cars just absolutely beat you up with stiffness. The BMW, especially the AMG cars, they are just so darn stiff that they stop being an enjoyable daily driver. But what Cadillac has done is they've created something that feels so natural, sounds good, it's quick enough, but it also rides well as a daily driver. And now it finally has all of the technology to feel like a true luxury sedan, not just a sports sedan. So I really love the Cadillac CT5-V. Obviously, you've got the Blackwing that is an absolute monster above it, but don't sleep on the regular V. So that's going to wrap up our time with the 2025 Cadillac CT5-V. Now, unfortunately, I don't have access to the configurator for this car to kind of tell you how much all of the pricing and options costs. You're going to be looking at just under $57,000 to start. That is pretty good for this segment where some of these cars can get really pricey. You can probably push this thing up to over 60 grand pretty easily, but you're getting a really nice engine. I think what is possibly the best ride in the segment, and dynamically, whether it's the steering, the chassis, the suspension, this might be my secret favorite in this segment. I think it drives better than pretty much any other vehicle in this segment, the BMW 3 Series included. So if you are looking for the purest driving experience and you don't have M5 or Blackwing money, the CT5V should not be slept on. But let me know in the comments, what vehicle in this segment would you get? Would you get the CT5V, or would you get one of the Germans? Or would you maybe go with a wild card option like the Acura TLX Type S? I want to hear from you in the comments. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell to be alerted of our latest videos. I'll see you next time.